the next Galactico midfielder? Real Madrid already sit at the summit of European football, boasting one of the most complete and dominant squads in the modern era. So why are Real Madrid transfer rumors increasingly linking the club with a 19-year-old midfielder from Manchester United? According to multiple insider reports, Kobbie Mainoo is not viewed as a short-term option or a speculative talent. Inside Valdebebas, he is considered a long-term strategic target, a player closely monitored as part of Real Madrid's future midfield succession plan. In this midfield analysis, we break down why Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid are being discussed as a perfect long-term match, and why the club sees him as a potential cornerstone of the next great Madrid midfield generation. Who is Kobbie Mainoo? A rapid rise. Kobbie Mainoo is not a typical academy prospect whose reputation is built on highlights or short bursts of form. He is a Manchester United Academy graduate who has transitioned rapidly from youth football to becoming a trusted first-team midfielder, despite his age and the intense scrutiny that comes with playing at Old Trafford. During his breakout season, Mainoo displayed a level of composure, tactical awareness, and decision-making that far exceeds what is normally expected from a teenage midfielder. In matches defined by pressure, tempo, and physical intensity, he consistently showed calm control in possession, intelligent positioning off the ball, and a mature understanding of when to accelerate or slow the game. What stands out most is not simply his technical quality, but the trust placed in him during high-stakes matches. At a club undergoing structural and tactical instability, managers rarely rely on teenagers in decisive moments. Yet Mainoo has been entrusted with central midfield responsibility in big domestic and European fixtures, a role that demands discipline, awareness, and mental strength. This is precisely why Real Madrid transfer rumors surrounding Kobbie Mainoo carry real substance. Madrid's scouting philosophy has never been about chasing hype or viral performances. The club prioritizes control, intelligence, and long-term tactical reliability, especially in midfield. Mainoo's rise signals more than potential. It reflects the profile of a player capable of commanding elite-level games, which is why he has firmly entered Real Madrid's long-term midfield analysis. What Real Madrid look for in midfielders? To understand why Kobbie Mainoo continues to appear in Real Madrid transfer rumors, it is essential to understand Real Madrid's historical approach to building elite midfields. Across different eras, the club has consistently prioritized intelligence, balance, and control over pure athleticism or short-term impact. For more than a decade, Toni Kroos embodied tempo control, dictating the rhythm of matches with positioning, passing range, and decision-making rather than speed. Luka Modric brought spatial intelligence, constantly manipulating space, angles, and pressure to give Madrid superiority in midfield battles. Casemiro, meanwhile, provided the defensive balance that allowed creative players to thrive, shielding the backline and stabilizing transitions. This trio did not simply win trophies, they defined how Real Madrid controlled games at the highest level. Looking to the future, the club has already secured an extraordinary new generation of midfield talent. Jude Bellingham offers vertical power and goal threat. Eduardo Camavinga brings dynamism, versatility, and ball-carrying ability. Federico Valverde provides relentless intensity and tactical flexibility. Aurelien Tchouaméni anchors the midfield with physical presence and positional discipline. On paper, the midfield looks complete. Yet in detailed midfield analysis, one profile remains rare even in this elite group: a natural rhythm setter. A player whose primary strength is not goals, assists, or physical dominance, but the ability to quietly control games, dictate tempo, and bring structural calm in the most demanding moments. This is where the connection between Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid becomes clear. Madrid are not searching for a star who dominates headlines. They are searching for a midfielder who dominates matches, often without being noticed. Tactical breakdown. Why Mainoo fits Real Madrid perfectly. When examining Kobbie Mainoo through a detailed midfield analysis, it becomes clear why Real Madrid's interest goes far beyond age or potential. His game is built on qualities that translate seamlessly to elite European football and align precisely with Madrid's tactical DNA. One of Mainoo's most defining traits is his elite press resistance. In tight central areas, he consistently receives the ball under pressure and escapes with minimal touches, maintaining possession in situations where many young midfielders panic or recycle the ball backward. This ability is critical for Real Madrid, especially in Champions League matches where opponents aggressively target the midfield during build-up phases. Equally important is Mainoo's calm first touch under pressure. His body orientation when receiving the ball allows him to see passing lanes early, reducing risk and increasing tempo control. This composure is not merely technical, it reflects advanced game intelligence and situational awareness. Tactically, Mainoo demonstrates strong positional discipline, whether operating in a double pivot or as an interior midfielder. He understands spacing, covers passing lanes instinctively, and rarely vacates zones unnecessarily. This reliability makes him ideal for systems that demand balance rather than constant movement. Perhaps his rarest quality is his ability to slow the game down even when the tempo is high. Mainoo recognizes moments when control matters more than progression, choosing the safest and most intelligent option to restore structure. This is a hallmark of elite midfield conductors and a quality Real Madrid value highly in long-term midfield planning. Within Real Madrid's system, Mainoo's tactical versatility opens multiple pathways. He could operate as the left interior in a 4-3-3, offering positional stability behind attacking midfielders. He could also rotate with Aurelien Tchouaméni during build-up phases, dropping deeper to facilitate clean progression while maintaining defensive balance. Most importantly, his presence would allow Jude Bellingham to remain higher up the pitch, maximizing his attacking output and box-arriving instincts without sacrificing midfield control. In this context, Kobbie Mainoo does not replace any existing Real Madrid midfielder. Instead, he complements them. He represents the missing structural element that transforms a collection of elite talents into a fully synchronized midfield unit. Why 2026? The strategic timing. The growing link between Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid is not driven by urgency, but by long-term strategic planning. Within Real Madrid's recruitment model, timing is often as important as talent, and 2026 represents a carefully calculated window rather than a speculative target. By that point, the era defined by Toni Kroos and Luka Modric will be fully closed, not only in terms of personnel but in terms of tactical responsibility. Their influence on tempo control, structure, and decision-making will need to be absorbed by the next generation, and Real Madrid are already preparing for that transition rather than reacting to it. From Mainoo's perspective, 2026 aligns perfectly with his developmental curve. He will arrive with multiple seasons of top-level experience, having faced elite opposition in domestic and European competition. His physical maturity will be closer to its peak, allowing him to handle the demands of Real Madrid's intensity and match schedule. Crucially, he would still be only 21 or 22 years old, fitting perfectly into Madrid's long-term squad-building philosophy. This is also where Real Madrid transfer rumors often reflect deeper strategic thinking. The club historically avoids entering chaotic bidding wars for emerging stars at their market peak. Instead, Madrid wait for moments when leverage shifts, contract timelines, sporting stability, or competitive context, allowing them to move decisively and efficiently. In that sense, 2026 is not a prediction, but a plan. It represents the moment when Kobbie Mainoo could arrive not as a prospect, but as a prepared midfield leader, ready to inherit responsibility rather than learn it under pressure. Transfer reality. Can Real Madrid actually get him? At present, Manchester United view Kobbie Mainoo as a foundational player and an essential part of their long-term rebuild. From a public standpoint, he is considered untouchable, and there is no immediate intention to sell. This stance is expected, particularly for a club seeking stability and identity through its emerging core. However, Real Madrid transfer rumors rarely emerge without long-term groundwork. Madrid's recruitment strategy is based on constant monitoring rather than immediate action, and Mainoo fits the profile of a player the club would track over multiple seasons before making a move. Several factors are closely observed from Madrid's perspective. The first is sporting project stability. Real Madrid prioritize players who are aligned with elite, clearly defined football projects. If uncertainty persists around tactical direction or squad development, Madrid's appeal naturally increases. The second factor is Champions League presence. Regular exposure to Europe's highest level remains a decisive element in player development and career ambition. Madrid understand that players with elite aspirations often seek environments where competing for the Champions League is a constant expectation rather than a long-term goal. Finally, contract timelines play a critical role. Real Madrid historically identify the optimal moment when negotiations shift in their favor, reducing financial risk while maximizing sporting value. Should Manchester United stagnate or fail to establish consistent progress at the top level, Real Madrid become the ultimate sporting step up. In that scenario, the discussion around Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid would move from speculation to genuine possibility, driven not by pressure but by strategic alignment. Why Real Madrid call him absolute priority? Within Real Madrid's long-term planning, the interest in Kobbie Mainoo goes far beyond short-term squad depth or opportunistic recruitment. He is viewed as a player who offers qualities that cannot be reliably purchased on the open market, regardless of transfer budget. The first of these is game control. Mainoo has the rare ability to influence matches through positioning, decision-making, and tempo regulation rather than volume or visibility. This type of control has historically defined Real Madrid's most successful midfield eras and remains central to the club's footballing identity. Equally important is his tactical maturity. Despite his age, Mainoo demonstrates an advanced understanding of spacing, defensive responsibility, and collective structure. He does not rely on individual brilliance to impose himself on matches, instead, he enhances the overall balance of the team. For Real Madrid, this quality is essential when integrating players into a system designed to dominate the highest levels of competition. Finally, Mainoo represents long-term midfield leadership. Not in the traditional sense of vocal authority, but through consistency, reliability, and intelligent control. These are the traits that allow midfielders to define eras, not just seasons. This is why the discussion around Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid is not framed as a marketing opportunity. It is a dynasty signing, focused on continuity and identity rather than immediate commercial impact. Real Madrid do not build teams for single campaigns. They build teams designed to compete, evolve, and dominate for decades. Kobbie Mainoo represents the evolving future of elite midfield football, a profile defined not by constant visibility, but by intelligence, balance, and control. His development trajectory aligns closely with the qualities that have historically defined Real Madrid's greatest midfield eras. For Real Madrid, 2026 is not a moment of speculation, but one of preparation. The club's long-term planning reflects a clear understanding of succession, timing, and tactical continuity. In that context, the growing conversation around Kobbie Mainoo and Real Madrid reflects strategic intent rather than rumor-driven hype. Now we want to hear from you. Should Real Madrid make Kobbie Mainoo their top midfield priority? Where would he fit within the current Real Madrid midfield structure? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you're passionate about Real Madrid transfer rumors, in-depth midfield analysis, and elite football strategy, make sure to like the video and subscribe to HalaDNA, the ultimate hub for true Madridistas worldwide.